Thanks.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Run it on no sleep, my friend.
No sleep. I always know it's going to be a rough day for you, Kate, whenever I wake up and there's a new Instagram story that popped up at like 5:45. I'm like, well, Kate's going to have a rough one. But we're having that same type of shit too, because I have like an alarm system here. So whenever any movement happens upstairs, I get an alert on my phone. Got one at 5 o'clock in the morning this morning. Cardi getting up and going to get on the Xbox because they didn't have school today. It was like a parent teacher conference day or whatever. So McCartney just gets on there at 5 o'clock, starts playing. What's that game? Roblox. Yeah. And I go down. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, and Cardi's like, just going back and forth between Roblox and Minecraft. It's pretty fun. Whatever.
5 a.m. though.
Like,
Jeez.
well, 5 in the morning.
I know, it's like,
revelry.
And nobody else is even online. I'm watching like YouTube videos about it. I'm like, get your little ass back to bed. That's parenting in a nutshell. Kate texted me yesterday about something. Oh, Cash walked for the first time. That was big news.
Yep. He's walking
Hey,
all over the place.
I thought he's been walking.
He's been taking like 1 or 2 steps to me from somewhere close, but now yesterday he just stood up in the middle of the living room and just walked away just into another room. And I was like, what the hell?
Well, I saw all the news about the new Army PT test and he was like, I got to get back in shape.
I got to start walking again.
2 miles ain't going to come easy when you're only doing onesies and twosies.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have 5 rounds in the magazine today. Round number 1, in a rare turn of events, a soldier put their struggles on the internet and the military community rallied around this person and gassed him up. Like the whole thread, everybody was nice. And it was a person complaining about how the National Guard is treated by their family. And I went through, I was like, this person's going to get roasted. This is going to be sad. Nope. Everybody gets gassed up. And I was so happy to see it. Round number 2, a person who we assume is a Chinese Lance Corporal has been living in an airport for 14 years. We're going to do a virtual field day of his room and where he's chosen to sleep. Round number 3, the Russians are going to need to update their safety briefs after some breakfast buns and booze leave many of the occupiers dead. Round number 4, war crimes are becoming more and more commonplace in Ukraine. We're going to give you some information about what's happening there. And I'll let you know, there is, if you're the type of listener that doesn't like horrific details, you might want to fast forward through that because we're going to go through some of these claims of war crimes and they are brutal. Round number 5, while committing those war crimes, Russia tried to do a sleight of hand by having a beauty competition for their women soldiers. Kate is going to love this round, and we're going to try to lighten it up before we let you go on your merry way at the end of the day. And all of that is going to be brought to you by our good friends at WhistlePig. If you haven't tried it yet, I don't know what the fuck you're waiting for. We've been telling you about it for a couple months now, but they had the piggyback barrel-aged craft cocktail in a can. It's so much better than a seltzer. It's crisp, refreshing. It's super bold and flavorful, and there's nothing like that out there because it has 8% alcohol by volume, and it's made with 100% estate-grown rye from the WhistlePig Whiskey Farm. I had no idea that you can even do that, and they're doing all types of different things at their WhistlePig Farm, including putting out delicious flavors like fresh ginger lime, blackberry lemon fizz, session citrus mint, and so much more. First day in the pool was yesterday. I don't have 88 degrees like Stu Feiner, but I do have a pool. I put some of these WhistlePig, the session citrus mint, into the refrigerator before I went out there. Had like 2. One was in the pool, one was in the hot tub. Absolutely perfect.
Delicious.
Perfect. It is. Everything that we've talked about of WhistlePig being a great for a summer beer is absolutely true. Go to use the promo code ZBT 2022. Nope, just 22 to receive 10% off your order at cans.whistlepig.com. Let's get going with the actual show today. Before we get going, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that we briefly mentioned, and I did a little research on it.
Okay.
What?
Because there's so many aspects of what's happening in Russia that is affecting things that you never would think about. Like for me, thinking about farming from a global standpoint is not something that I typically do. And so like having Ukraine and Russia be the breadbasket of, essentially of the world, where so much of the world's wheat comes from, there has to be some trade going along there. But you think it like business decisions, like their petroleum, their fuel, their oil that is all exported from Russia. One of the things that Russia is in charge of in the international community, the Russian space station, like they are in charge of all that stuff going on. They're having to do in the middle while you're chilling in there with Russians, if you're an American astronaut or from any other country, you're dealing with the Russians and probably kind of hating them, right? Like I think if you, even though you don't want to, when you look across and there's somebody that, if it's like ours, they still have some military rank in the International Space Station. So you're thinking, you motherfucker, being in a space station with somebody would be difficult.
I wonder if I don't know why I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, whole comrade Katie over here, but I wonder if they're like, hey, sorry about what Putin's doing. This is so embarrassing for us stuck up here. You know, if the Russians are embarrassed.
Oh, I doubt it, because they have their communications all recorded.
Oh, no way. Oh, so
yeah. Like, because everybody can listen in on what's going on, because it's like for science and they have to have comms and everything like that. So I imagine all the different astronauts could hear what's going on, like in the people at command and control.
Yeah. I don't know. I assume they're eating lunch alone in the bathrooms.
Even more difficult to talk about. Like if you knew everybody was in there and you want to talk shit, imagine being the lone Russian in there and be like, oh, sorry guys. Like no one wants to be friends with me.
Big time Steven Glansberg vibes there. Unfortunate circumstances for those cosmonauts.
Yeah. So
by the way,
go ahead.
Why do they call them cosmonauts as opposed to astronauts?
Well, they call them both.
To the cosmos.
Cosmos.
Okay. All right.
I actually think cosmonaut is a better title than astronaut.
Because of ass.
True.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. By the way, I just started watching for the first time ever From the Earth to the Moon. Pretty good series there from Tom Hanks and HBO. No free ads.
Thank you, Cons. And so with the International Space Station, they have to figure out which way to get gas, like how to get gas. And that's something that I never really thought of, like the logistics of getting gas. It's not like you can have one of those fueler planes come up to space and like give you all of your stuff. So they're trying to figure out how to do that. And I was like, well, what do they need fuel for whenever they're up there? Yeah. Turns out they need fuel because there's so much space trash up in space that you have to put on the boosters to get out of the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's so much.
Didn't know that.
Space trash is a whole other ball of wax that we could go down a rabbit hole on for hours. But yeah, it's a problem. It's going to be getting worse and worse.
Space trash. I just thought they were just kind of floating around up there, though. They didn't need gas for anything to move.
I think we have no idea how much space trash is up there. It's got to be a ton. It's like when they show you those videos of like trash islands in the middle of the ocean where it all collects together and be like, oh, it's the size of 50 football fields. And you're like, what the fuck? How is it that big? It's huge. Well, these astronauts, last thing I'll mention about these astronauts, there was an American that had been up in space for 355 days at the International Space Station, had to get down. The only way that he could get out of the space station was by going on the Russian trip. And then they take these space capsules. And I had no idea about the space capsules. They just kind of pick a spot where they hope that it's going to land, but they really have no idea. Like this one was supposed to land in around Moscow area so they could go pick it up. This space shuttle, the little capsule that the people coming in, landed in Kazakhstan, thousands of miles away.
Little off, slightly off. By the way, space trash flies around at 5 miles per second. And the speed of an impact can reach 15 kilometers per second, 10 times as fast as a bullet, basically. And so so there's an estimated 36,500, nailed it, pieces that are larger than 10 centimeters going around Earth 10 times the speed of a bullet.
Damn.
So yeah,
it's pretty scary.
There's more than 300 million pieces smaller than that out in space too, but the bigger pieces cause more of a problem, but they're everywhere up there. It's a problem.
And we're also not going to skip over the fact that after the episode last week, Kate discovered that she has a learning disability, right, Kate?
I really do.
Big news here. Big news. Please go into detail about this, because I really slightly feel bad for you, but at least we have an answer to your problems now.
You guys posted the clip of me struggling to read a number, and I jokingly said, I tweeted, is there the version of dyslexia? Can people have dyslexia with numbers? I said that jokingly. Right away, like 20 people are like, actually, yes, it's a very real thing called blank. I forget the name of it already. And I have it. And it's like this, blah, blah. I Googled it. Every single check in the box I checked off. I feel like this might explain why I'm late so often, unless I itemize. Have you seen my airport timelines that I do? Yes. I have to write on note cards, and I live off of note cards minute by minute because I can't conceptualize time. And I avoid, I still have to use my fingers and my calculator to do basic tips. Like even if it's a $10 bill, I'm like, what's the tip?
So I looked it up, and we'll go through it and see if you do have some of these.
Yeah.
It's called dyscalculia is what it's called.
Dyscalculia, yeah.
So you have difficulty counting backwards.
I mean, I can't even count forward.
Start at 34 and go backwards to 27. Let's
34, 30. I almost just said 35, 34, 33, 32, 31, 30, 20, 29, 28, 27, 20.
Okay, so you passed that one.
Yeah.
Difficulty remembering basic facts. I think that one's Katie's stolen valor too. You forget a lot of those facts. Slow to perform calculations.
I can't do. I said this before the show. I remember second grade when it came time for long division. It was like a moment I still remember in my head. I remember what the class. I remember being like, "Oh no, something's wrong. I don't get this even a little bit. Like I'm super fucked."
Oh, and I remember had to have been such a hard feeling.
I had to stay in at recess because the teacher was like, "Come on, Kate, like whatever." Because I was fine and everything else, and I was like, "No, I don't. This is not." And then like ever since then, every math homework after that was crying at the kitchen table. Like that set it off. Yeah.
All right, real quick, 11 times 12.
Fuck if I know. 111, 121, 121.
Nailed it. Got it. Good job.
Okay.
Right. So I do think maybe you don't have it to the highest level because you counted backwards, but I do think, like knowing you for years, you have a splash of that for sure.
Oh yeah.
Like salt base sprinkled on some dyslexia.
I think it's more than a splash. Less than a whole.
I have a really hard time reading numbers, and I'll try to write a number down and I'll write a completely different number. I'll go to write 37 and I've written 56 or something. I'm like, what?
How many times have you tried writing out a check and screwed it up and had to throw the check away?
My mom had to sit me down well past the age of and be like, we're going to sit here until you can write a damn check. Like it was, like I'm telling you, that's why I avoid looking at my bank account and all my finances, why I wait till last minute to do my taxes. It's literally the thought of looking at numbers is so overwhelming to me. I'm like, I can't do it.
Do you do your own taxes?
Fuck no. I walked over to the no free ads over to the old green block and I said, lady, I don't give a fuck if you get the details right. Just do it for me.
I just don't want to go to jail.
I just don't want to go to jail. I
just
said,
keep me out of the clink.
Yeah. So yeah, forget it. Anyway, so if you have that too, cool. And land nav, I cheated I'll admit it. I cheated my way through it. There's no way
if you're not cheating in land nav, you're not doing it right.
That's true. That's true.
I mean,
good for me.
You guys act like land nav's hard. You shouldn't really need.
It's not hard, but if you can get through it quicker, why would you not get back and go back to the barracks earlier? Come on.
I guess. But what do we consider cheating in land nav?
I don't know. Wouldn't a West Pointer know more than anyone?
Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of stuff you could do to cheat in land nav. One, if you know the instructors, you can watch them and like where they're looking, like picking up the social clues from the instructors because they're not very good at it. Like the old hot potato, like, oh, that's not the red box. And then you could see them fidgeting a little bit. Body language is what I always look for the instructors.
Okay.
But sometimes they would have it. And if you could set up your courses where you go in the wintertime, if you live in a deciduous environment, very smart. Because then they don't have all the tree cover to use. All the trees are gone. So you can just kind of look through and see through the forest a lot better.
Oh, I never even thought about that. I never did land nav in any sort of environment like that. That would probably make life a lot easier. You just spot things from a few hundred meters away.
Big time. All right, well, that's a little bit of space goofing. Let's move on to the actual first round of the day. What do we got here, Kate?
All right, we've got good. Whoa, what is this good vibe story from the military internet, which can be a pretty rough place. This comes to us from Reddit.
And now before we do it, let's set the scene a little bit because we picked this because I feel like so often in the military community, reservists and guard members do get shit on big time. Like
and the Marine Corps reserves got shit on all the time. All the time.
Yeah. So if you have all this stuff going on and you're a reservist and you're dealing with active duty, it's definitely going to be the first insult. Oh, you guys are 1 week in a month, two weeks a year type bullshit. Never supportive. I don't know if I've ever seen active duty folks like super supportive of it, but I got it from the military Reddit page and I saw the headline and I was like, oh man, this poor fella is going to get, or lady, I don't know. This poor person is going to get roasted. Kate, let's walk through what actually happened. This story has just warmed my heart.
Yeah, and the headline that they wrote it under is "Family belittle my military service," and there's so many spelling mistakes in here that I know it's true. I know this is a real deal person. I've done 7 years in the National Guard. I'm the first in my family to serve in the military. In the last 7 years, I've mobilized to wildfires, COVID-19 humanitarian missions, civil disturbances, and have gone to many schools while earning 2 MOSs and a bachelor's degree. This year, I'm getting promoted to sergeant in a combat arms MOS.
Nothing to be ashamed of. That's great news. Everything that you did is awesome. You
Thank
did
you
what
for
your
your
government's
service.
requiring. Exactly right, Kate.
Thank you for your service. Now, my family, parents, and siblings consistently have belittled my National Guard service, calling it the fake military, calling it a waste of time and money, and pretty much say that I'm wasting my life serving in the National Guard. Unfortunately, my family doesn't subscribe to the belief of service before self or even understands the value in sacrificing for a cause. I've missed school, graduations, birthdays, anniversaries, parties, trips, lost jobs, career opportunities, and money, and have had relationships and friendships ruined by my National Guard service. And we've been telling stories on here the last few months, time and time again. That's the case, especially as they're getting like super overused. I understand we are part-time Joes, but I'm still super bummed that my own fucking family thinks I'm a loser for serving. I flipped out on them today after many years of being belittled and told them they just wouldn't understand what it means to serve because they are worthless and only think about themselves. In parentheses, I yelled.
I need
yelled
that
it at
video.
him.
I just
What would
need
you-
that video. You're worthless.
Yeah. What would you respond? And then this last sentence kills me. I'm a sad soldier.
Oh man.
Yeah.
He's just trying to do his damnedest. I mean, to me, I feel like this is the type of person who never really done anything rough and tumble in their life. Looked to the National Guard and was like, I'm going to go here, better myself, and do something that my family could be proud of. Next thing you know, pulls in and he gets shit on by everybody.
So it's really tough because it's one thing to have your buddies bust your chops because that's what friends are supposed to do. They're supposed to give you a hard time and it's supposed to be good natured, knowing full well that behind those jokes, they actually do care and are appreciative of your service. But with this person, to have your own parents diminishing your service and saying you're in the fake military, that's a tough pill to swallow because usually parents just by nature are going to, unless you're a really big, crappy individual, parents by nature are going to be supportive no matter what you do in this life.
Did Matilda go on to become a soldier?
Is
this Matilda's family?
Matilda
her dad's
vibes,
a
yeah.
shitty used car
What
salesman.
are you doing with those books? You got a perfectly good TV right
Yeah.
there.
What are you going to your guard weekend for? You got whatever. The mom's off at bingo. The brother's a piece of shit. Yeah. But you, like you said, the community uplifted
I expected
this
this comments to be shut the fuck up, you pussy, like they're right, you are worthless, like all those types of comments. That's not what we got, right, Kate?
No, the first response right off the bat, this person responded, bucket of crabs mentality, which I've never heard that term before.
But
That's
I like
my
it.
new, that's my new thing. I don't even know what it means. Bucket of crabs mentality. Tell them they can suck my big active dick.
Oh,
Sounds like
shit.
We've got the actives coming in. Sounds like you've served your country plenty at the cost of your civilian priorities. The Guard has been run ragged lately and probably done more directly for America than most active guys have done lately. Would I say that to any of my in real life Guard friends? Absolutely not, because the Guard's lame, etc. But it's true.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Someone else responded, they talk so much shit, ask them to sign and serve. Sure, a little teasing now and then is healthy, but I don't think your family appreciates you for what you're doing. Ignore the haters and keep getting your bread up. Keep your bread up. You get free healthcare, a yearly stipend that is equal to a bonus they drool over that they get every 5 to 6 years. Tell them to get their money up, not their funny up.
Got them.
Get your money up, not funny up.
Asses.
Fucking a crabs mentality. Someone else said, hey man,
tell them to eat a fucking dick.
Yeah.
Some wisdom from my friend Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson that served me without fail. Dissing yourself from people who lie to you, steal from you, or disrespect you. It sounds pretty cold-blooded, but what he's getting at is that you shouldn't waste your time on this earth allowing toxic people to hang around you and leech your life force. You should spend it with people who are going to support you and empower you. That's still shitty, though. I've parted ways with some pretty toxic people who were very important to me because of that. I didn't think they were who they were. They showed their true colors. Fuck them.
Cons, this next one has officer written all over it. You read this one.
Oh my goodness. And I just want on record, I'm reading, I'm not speaking.
This is from Snood Doodles 55040.
Shout to Snood. Tell them to eat a dick and learn some history, like the story of Roman General Lucius Quintus Cincinnatus went from being a farmer to a general of the Roman legion, and once the war was over, because he kicked so much ass, went back to being a farmer, the model for all reserve military forces. That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, all reservists are big fans of longtime stoolie Roman General Lucius Quintus Cincinnatus. Of course, long time, brick by brick, Roman Lucius.
Who actually, the Cincinnatus guy is actually the one that started that chili spaghetti that they serve in Cincinnati.
He did. Yep, that was him. That's how he fed the troops.
Exactly.
He just had them hold their little hands out and he plopped chili spaghetti right into it.
They loved it. Fed him like a bird too, like
he baby birded him. Yep, yes, he did.
I enjoyed the response to that one though. Man went from working hoes to killing Joes, back to working hoes. Legendary.
That's the dream. Wrong. That's the dream. And the last one we'll say, what's it say next to your name? I love this one because this is like pulling somebody up close to their face, kind of like Billy Madison did with the fat kid, and he shakes it. Don't ever say that. That's exactly how I feel here. What does it say next to your name tag? Does it say National Guard? No. It says U.S. Army. And if you love serving and the Joes you're serving with, good for you. Then everybody else can eat a Whopperito.
And then someone else responded, Mom, Dad, go eat a Whopperito. And then someone else said, stealing this for the Whopperito eating club members with an opinion. Anyway,
never heard of a Whopperito, but I like it.
Whopperitos, buckets of crabs. You better bring some melted butter because that's a bucket.
But
of crabs.
Almost everybody in that whole thread was nice. It was just, why can't we do that? I mean, we'll post something innocuous, something so innocent of a service member in uniform just existing. And immediately the comments will be like, look at this fucking loser. Look at this piece of shit. Look at this pogue. Right away. Why don't we gas each other up?
I bet they have the vaccine. Thanks, Obama.
Oh, look at this lib.
Sir, this is just a tank video. Anyway, that's a bucket of crabs mentality, if you ask me.
Bucket of crabs mentality.
If you're in a
so
pinch.
Sick of these crustacean ass motherfuckers. I'm just so tired of it.
Oh, they're acting like real legumes, if you ask me. Nutty.
big bean Whopperito having head ass. All right, let's move on to round number 2. We're going to head over to an airport in China, which is different for sure.
Sure. Yeah. Not
Go ahead,
not our usual ZBT round. So Wei Jinggao, a Chinese man in his 60s, was so disturbed by his family life that the only solution in his view was to move to Beijing Capital International Airport, where he's lived for 14 years. Sure, checks out. He told his family to eat a fucking Whopperito, and he moved the
He's
fuck
like,
out
all
of
y'all
there.
got fucking crab mentality in this bitch.
Yeah, they were just unlike Tom Hanks's 2004 movie, The Terminal, where the tourist is forced to live at JFK. Mr. Wei has his food package, belongings, and a sleeping bag in a waiting area.
Wait, before we do this, JFK is where that movie happened. You have to live at an airport for 1 year. What airport are you picking?
Wow. I have three.
Okay.
My three favorites. One, Knoxville, Tennessee. It's gorgeous. It's clean, easy to get around. And then they have this beautiful river full of trees and rocks and boulders that flows through the inside of the airport down this lovely ramp. There's some fake bears. It's so peaceful. There's rocking chairs. Number 2, Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been probably the most hungover in my life several times at this airport, on the verge of death. Got the shakes, almost missed my flights. Best burgers you could eat off the floor. It's a treat. Everyone's friendly. Security is fast. Number 3, Houston International in Texas. Who would have thunk it? That floor is so clean.
That is very clean.
You could unload a wheelbarrow of wet roast beef. I'll eat it right off the floor.
Yeah, people do that all the time.
Hands.
They bring that same spaghetti chili down and they dump it all over the floor.
I would lick spaghetti chili off the floor of Houston International.
What is that shit called?
Houston.
No, the Cincinnati chili. What is it called?
Skyline chili?
Skyline chili. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Skyline. I would lick it right off the floor of Houston International. Those are the 3 places that I would live at. Great view and nice chairs, nice viewing windows, sunny.
Cons?
I don't know why, but DFW keeps coming to mind. Maybe because of all the options to eat. I don't know. It does. Now that I said that out loud, it feels like it's a dirty
Dallas
one.
is one of the worst cities in the country.
Yeah, but you're staying in the airport. So what does it matter what the city's like?
We need to ride the tram cars around.
Okay. All right. So then maybe my backup would be Charleston.
That's a small one. Yeah, my
Quaint.
first number one pick would be Denver because it's so huge and you could do basically anything in there.
Yeah.
Go to restaurants. 2, based on work, I would have to say Las Vegas because you can
gamble in there.
And you could write a blog, people of Las Vegas Airport, and just follow people around, people watching, and write a blog that would be a smash hit.
That blog writes itself day in and day out.
Easy.
That's
you could
a
have
great idea.
one of the best TikTok accounts in the world.
Hit up Kelly in Vegas. Tell her to start hanging around the airport.
All right, cool. Well, let's go. Let's keep going.
Okay. Anyway, the reason he moved into this airport, the family was getting him down because they wouldn't let him smoke and drink as much as he wanted to.
Been there.
In previous statements to the newspaper in 2018, the China Daily, he said that he would not return home because then he would have to give up alcohol and smoking, adding, "I can't go home because I have no freedom there. My family told me that if I wanted to stay, I had to stop smoking and drinking.
This dude loves to fucking party. He
fucking loves to party.
Loves it.
If I couldn't do that, I had to give them all the monthly government allowance of 1,000 yen, but how could I buy cigarettes and alcohol? After disagreements with his family, he began sleeping in railway stations in the airport before deciding, I really like this airport. I'm going to live here full time. In 2008, he moved into Terminal 2, which is about 12 miles from his home. The man said he had given up looking for work. And yeah, he's just been there for a long time. You're like, oh, well, have they tried to kick him out? He's too cantankerous, as some would say. One of the workers at the airport said he had been encouraged to leave several times, but he was refusing and losing his temper. Now, I picture China. You sneeze wrong, you're in the clink there.
Yeah.
What's up with this guy that they're all terrified of him and just letting him live in the airport?
And this fella's sitting there and he's like saying, I don't want to go home because they're going to steal my 1,000 won. That's $150.
He's drunk as shit and he's smoking cigs all day.
I can see how that might start to wane on your family though, if you're just consistently intoxicated and reeking of smoke.
Well, but I'm saying that's got to wear on the airport workers who have to deal with his quadrant every day.
But Beijing is such a huge airport. You might only see him a couple times a month, like this fella, right? I mean, that's got to be a huge airport out of it. I've never been to Beijing's airport, so we should get Donnie on the line. But I would imagine that it's enormous.
Yeah, there's another resident, Iranian Miran Karimi Nasseri, lived in Charles de Gaulle's Terminal 1 for 18 years, from 1988 until 2006. And the only reason he left is that he was hospitalized. So maybe he's going for the record. Maybe this guy's gonna awkward for the family if they're traveling and they're like, what terminal are we leaving out of again? Oh my God, we're gonna have to see him.
Yeah. That's how they
I just looked it up. This is how big Beijing's airport is. 7.5 million square feet.
Oh,
feels big.
Yeah. Oh, it's the biggest. It's the second biggest airport in the world. Yeah, huge.
Oh,
you can live there for 14 years and never see anybody.
Well, remember we talked about the Vietnam veteran who was living in the old Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where the Eagles used to play. He lived there for what, like 2.5 years or something like that?
If you had to live in any public area, not just an airport, where would you go?
Jesus.
Oh.
Number one, immediately for me, and I'll let you guys think about it. Mall of America popped up right away.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
Because there's all kinds of stuff. 2, I would think that Disney World would be a great place because people are so wasteful at Disney World. You could eat from the trash there forever. And it would be good food. I feel like every year someone tries to live in an IKEA for a while. Yeah, Donnie did that too.
Donnie did that. Yeah,
in Beijing, I believe.
If I could live in Washington Square Park in New York City, if I could live in the Arch, if I could have like a little door and a little room, there would be always endless booze. There's good jazz music happening. There's always something happening there. I could swim in the fountain in the summertime. It's like the heart of the city to me. I like that.
Where the pigeon lady in Home Alone stayed was pretty nice too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Carnegie Hall.
Up above Carnegie Hall in a pigeon loft.
That'd be pretty good.
Sure. Absolutely.
I guess I'd probably pick a stadium in like maybe somewhere in like San Diego, just because I think if you're living in public anywhere, unless it's completely inside like a mall, like you said, Champs, you got to go somewhere where the weather's favorable.
I would like if you
dealing with the winter.
I would like if you had to live outside at Torrey Pines for a year, and how embarrassed you'd be if you just be scraggling along
Augusta
out there.
with that going on. Like sleeping.
Watch out for Captain Cons. He's going to be in the woods somewhere. He lives
sleep
here.
in that little area below the bridge, so you
wearing
have a little bit of
shelter.
Yeah. You're a little troll underneath the bridge there.
I like that idea.
Be good. All right, let's move on to round number 3, which today is going to be brought to you by our good friends at Rocky Boots. Rocky Boots builds boots for the men and women who serve and protect the country. They're designed and built here in the U.S. for each one of the individual branches. They have the best boots in the biz if you're doing construction, nursing, military stuff, just goofing around your yard doing yard work. They have wonderful like boat shoes. They have all kinds of stuff. Basically anything that you could possibly need, they have it. Just go to rockyboots.com, enter the promo code ZBT at checkout for 25% off your next pair of boots. It's an absolute no-brainer to get these. I think I probably have like close to 10 pairs now, and they are all incredibly comfortable. I wear them all the time, just around I put them on. This weekend was the first weekend I had to do any yard work. So I'm busting out the weed whacker. Got to protect the shins, Kate. High boots.
I just started looking, now that I got a walker, I just started looking at their kids' boots.
You never know when you go to that Rutherford Park, there could be a snake rolling around. You don't want Cash to get bit by a snake.
Goddamn right. Mm-hmm. Rocky Boots.
That would put a huge wrench in his whole walking situation.
It really would. That's why you need the Rocky Boots, my friend.
What the heck is this? All right, let's move on to round number 3. What do we got here, Kate?
Yes, this comes to us from UPI. Multiple Russian soldiers died and many more grew ill after being served poisoned food and alcohol in the Ukrainian town of Izium, officials said on Saturday. At least 2 troops of 3rd Motor Rifle Division of the Russian Federation immediately died after eating stuffed buns from residents in Izium, a town southeast of Kharkiv. Another 28 soldiers who ate the poisoned buns have been hospitalized. Ukrainian government officials also said that 500 Russian troops occupying the town grew extremely ill after consuming poisoned alcohol.
So what I read here is how this went down. They saw this convoy rolling through different towns, and they're all like talking to each other on social media and texting and having communication, which is smart. I mean, when you have an occupying force come through. So they're noticing that there's been videos of Russian soldiers taking livestock, taking things from grocery stores, going into people's houses,
they've been looting all the stores,
looting, raping, doing all kinds of essentially pillaging of these different towns whenever they go through. Well, one Ukrainian town saw it. They got together on a message board and they're like, okay, all the booze that we have, like, so in the sheet that I have here, there's a video or a picture of a guy drinking Jack Daniels. All these different things, they injected poison into it, or they poisoned and told this townsmember, don't meet anything here. So they injected poison into all the different foods at the bakeries, all the different alcohols, and now people are consuming it and they're dying. Legit, kind of a brilliant move on their part.
Yes, I absolutely love it. It's very much.
I think it would technically classify as a war crime, but these are all these are civilians doing it.
Right, they're kind of skirting the rules there a little bit because they're not part of the military, so I don't think they get held to the same standard. Yeah, guerrilla force just fighting back.
And they didn't tell them to drink it. They just put it out.
Yeah. The poison libations are one of multiple unorthodox strategies employed by Ukraine's scrappy resistance, which has been largely led by civilians. One form of defense against invading Russian forces included a Kiev woman who downed a drone by hurtling a can of tomatoes at it. If it was me, I'd be chucking Chef Boyardee. But not spaghetti and meatballs. Those would be for me. Last week, NATO estimated that between 7,000 and 15,000 Russian troops have died, and up to 40,000 have been killed or injured in the first month of the Ukraine invasion, which is just absolutely insane. I remember in Afghanistan, the rumor was the Taliban was, because we go out and patrol or whatever, and some of the guys, when we walk through a farm, they had watermelon, they had everything. Would put like a watermelons in their drop pouches and stuff to bring back and eat when we were at that. It wasn't like taking a ton of anything, but like onesies and twosies here and there. And the rumor was that the Taliban was injecting the watermelons with poison, which is absurd. I'm assuming that this was some higher up created lie to get us to stop stealing farmers' fruit when we were out.
Yeah, because I imagine, especially at that time when the mission is to win quote, hearts and minds, and you're like out there stealing their shit. That's not good.
Especially if it was like the prized watermelon that the farmer was really proud of. He'd be so pissed.
We used to do it. Our commanding officer told us, like, because you would go into different bazaars and like sometimes the people like would be very happy that you were there because you were providing some protection and they weren't necessarily as worried as Al-Qaeda coming in. So they would give us like cases of cigarettes or cartons of cigarettes. And the commanding officer was like, you don't know if they put hashish oil on any of these things and you'll pop on a piss test. And at the time when you're a corporal, you're like, oh shit, true. Like don't want to be Don't want to be.
I mean,
popular.
it's feasible.
Not
though.
like they're
It's
making
very
you piss
feasible.
in Fallujah, anyways. But
no, but it's very feasible. Even Kate, even your story with the watermelons, that's a very feasible thing.
sure, I mean,
very
it's
easy to
happening in
inject a
Russia.
watermelon.
It's happening to the
Yeah.
Russians. Of course,
And I
it's
mean,
feasible.
what a great deterrent too. They're tired of all their stores and all their stuff getting looted. What a great deterrent. Because if the Russians know, like, we lost a bunch of guys because they looted this, it was probably a 7-Eleven. They were down at the Sev. It was probably a Wawa. Come to think of it, they were down at the Wawa. They stole a couple things. They got real sick. It'll keep them from doing it. But yeah, good deterrent.
I respect this move.
And there's a couple other deterrents that I want to talk about. We're going to get into the next round. We're going to get some of the things that the Russians are doing, but they're also pulling back from the town of Kiev, the city of Kiev. And there's been a lot of reports that over the weekend, there was 14 tanks and like 20 something other vehicles that were destroyed as they are trying to withdraw and go to the Belarus border in order to refit, get resupplied, and be able to go back into Ukraine. But they're observing all this. NATO forces are observing all this. American forces are observing all this. Of course, the Ukrainians are as well. I don't understand any of the tactics of what the Russians are doing. If you're going to centralize a location for your refit, why wouldn't Ukraine just bomb the fucking shit out of their battalions whenever they're stopped? Like, I don't get why because they actually went into Russian territory for the first time and bombed one of their fuel factories.
Yeah,
I was going to suggest that maybe they just don't have the means to do that, but it seems like they do.
Yeah, they have longer range, not like long range missiles, but they have longer range missiles that can go a couple 100 kilometers for sure.
Yeah. I think they are. They're just so maybe outnumbered still right now because we're seeing endless footage of tanks and Russian vehicles that have been fucked up badly as they're clumped together. So I think they are doing it. I just think there's so much right now, so many Russian whatever that they just can't.
Yeah, so maybe they are trying to conserve their capabilities.
I don't know.
And do it when they could have a very big impact. I don't know.
But yeah, that's a good question.
That we don't have an answer for. Let's move on to round number 4. What do we got, Kate?
Yeah, so this comes to us from Reuters. Is it Reuters or Reuters?
Reuters.
You'd think at the age I'm at, I would know. But and Human Rights Watch. This is a tough round, so just fair warning. Global outrage spread on Monday at civilian killings in the northern Ukraine town of Bucha outside of Kiev. Tied bodies shot at close range, mass graves, and other signs of executions were found in the town, retaken from Russian troops as the focus of the conflict shifted elsewhere. And there's photos today of Zelensky that was visiting there, and the look on his face and the faces of the other people with him. It looks like they've aged 50 years just from walking through and what they've seen in this town. And then
like
I've seen
sheer pain on his face. You can't describe it in any other way. It's just sheer pain.
Yeah. And this is a town people couldn't get in for a while. So this is like all new to everybody's getting in to see finally now that Russia has pulled back what has happened there. And it's just horrendous. The destruction and civilian deaths are set to galvanize the US and Europe into additional sanctions against Moscow, with officials raising the prospect of restrictions on Russia's energy exports. Ukrainian authorities said they had found 421 civilian casualties and were investigating possible war crimes. The photo from above, it looks like an enormous landfill full of trash bags, and it's hundreds and hundreds of innocent civilian bodies. The Kremlin categorically denied any accusations because, of course, they did. In other areas of the country, Reuters saw more makeshift burials, but could not independently verify the number of dead or who was responsible. And thank God for all these journalists going and bearing witness to what is actually happening, because again, Russia keeps trying to deny, but I'm always singing the praises of the photojournalists who are out there. They are the ones making sure that Russia cannot deny it. The photos I've seen are horrific. The discoveries were also poised to overshadow peace talks between Russia and Ukraine, due to restart on Monday against a backdrop of artillery bombardments in Ukraine's south and east, where Russia says it is now focusing its operations. We didn't get our asses kicked there. We're just refocusing somewhere else. In the village west of Kiev, reporters saw 3 bodies in a makeshift forest grave. An advisor to Ukraine's interior ministry said the victims were the village's mayor and her husband and son.
Jeez.
In Bucha, and sorry if I'm saying that wrong, satellite images showed a 45-foot-long trench filled as a mass grave, and it was filled. Russian forces in a village in the Chernihiv region executed 6 men, according to the mother of one of the men who was nearby and who saw the dead bodies of all 6. One woman told the story of Russian forces executing a man there in early March. She said that the soldiers brought about 40 people out into the square, gathered everyone's phones, their documents, and asked who was in territorial defense or local self-defense units. And this is from a woman's account. 2 women asked to go to the bathroom. One of them was pregnant. I asked to go with them. A soldier showed us the way to the toilet, which was around the building. I think it was now their headquarters. The building was long. Along the wall on the other side, we saw a large pool of blood. She said they waited in the square for hours in very cold weather. At one point, they brought in 1 young man, then 4 more. They made the soldiers take off their boots and their jackets. They made them kneel on the side of the road. Russian soldiers pulled back their t-shirts from behind and over their heads. They shot one in the back of the head. He fell. Women screamed. The other 4 men were just kneeling there. The commander said to the rest of the people in the square, "Don't worry, you are all normal, and this is the dirt. We are here to cleanse you from the dirt." She said that after several more hours, the soldiers took the people back to their homes. The other 4 remained kneeling when she left. She said that when she was able to leave the town, the young man's body was still laying there where it had been shot. Russian forces threatened to execute a man and his son in another province outside the city of Irpin in northwest of Kiev. A village resident said that Russian forces entered the village where he was sheltering with 10 other people, including another family. In a separate interview, the daughter corroborated the account. 13 soldiers entered the house to search it. And this is just people going on, telling their stories of basically getting dragged out of their homes, or other people getting men, women, and children dragged out of their homes. In this case, the family had to watch as their son was ordered to strip naked because they wanted to look at his tattoos, dragging him out into the street, like just absolute.
So essentially
horror.
on this, I put in several different examples of things that I was reading on the Human Rights Watch that is doing. I mean, the people, the lawyers and the journalists who are involved with Human Rights Watch and those types of organizations that are going through the things that they must have seen for the last 2 months has got to be horrific. And I can't imagine doing that over and over again. I mean, just reading it this morning, I was blown away and like emotional reading it and just trying to picture what that would actually look like. And you can't. And we've on this show, like the 3 of us have all seen some horrific things. But I think with each new terrible thing that happens and atrocity that happens in Ukraine, you try to wrap your head around it, and it's impossible. It's impossible to imagine being in a scene, seeing something so inherently evil, like the beginning stages of a genocide.
And well worth noting too, like this, seeing from above that mass grave with over 400 innocent bodies in it, they estimate, in Syria, and this was the latest I could find, and I'm sure there's more updated, but as of 2018, they estimated Russia had killed over 18,000 people in Syria. 18,000 innocent people. So it's just, and I could probably, if I was more well versed in world policy, I could probably list off 5 different countries in the last 20 years that Russia has murdered innocent civilians, and they deny it. They deny, and they blame everybody else. But it's just fucking.
Well, and I think that's why it's important to bring these stories to light. As tough as they are to read and to hear about, it is important to bring them to light so they get held accountable for these atrocities, and they don't get to just continue to execute, sorry, poor choice of words there, but execute these plans unimpeded.
And there's been different aspects that's taken place from the U.S. government. One of the things that I don't understand how they could possibly be on it anyway, but President Biden said this morning that he wants Russia to be removed from the human rights organization, not human rights. Human rights council at the UN. He doesn't want to be a part of that anymore, which completely makes sense. I mean, there's story after story after story, and these are some of the ones that were early on. There's been different congressional members, different people in the U.S. government that are identifying these very clear war crimes and saying, when are we going to do something? Enough is enough. And I agree. I mean, there's been a lot of different news sources that are coming out about the sanctions, and when we first started, how effective the sanctions were, and you saw the value of the ruble dropped, I believe, like 33% whenever it first happened, and then it got down to 50, and now it's raised back up, and people are saying that it's a fake raising back up, that they're inflating this in certain ways, and it's going to go back down soon. But there needs to be legit pain, and I don't know what that is, because I also don't want to have Americans involved in war, but you are involved in war, like already, like the human race is involved in war when this type of things happen. And I just don't know what the answer is. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people do. Let's move on to round number 5. Let's do. It sucks we can't do Bernie Higgins anymore. It really does.
Well, war crimes. What war crimes? Everything's fine over in Russia where we're doing beauty contests, my friends. Cheer up, buttercups. We're goofing. We're
preposterous.
over here in Russia. We're just goofing. There's nothing going on. Everything's fine. Yes, Russia has staged a bizarre military beauty contest for its female troops amid the Ukraine invasion. As Vladimir Putin's forces move hardware and soldiers towards the war zone, the makeup under camouflage contest was held back at home. Hot patoots, yeah. Those involved included female troops from the country's strategic missile forces. Incoming boner alert, okay? A statement in military magazine Red Star said that about 40 beauties took part. It added that, and this must be their Air Force.
Can you imagine their first sergeant's like, hey, go out there to the platoon and find me the one with the best tits and bring her in here. Like we got a big time pageant she's got to be a part of.
We need some serious PR. 40 beauties took part. It added the first test for the participating teams was the application of combat makeup. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. And I will say, whenever I had to put camo face paint on for training, I always did make sure I contoured.
Can you important. Can you do a tutorial vid on how to do camo paint?
Should I do one wrong so that all the hardos get super angry?
No, don't say it's wrong. Just do it how you want to, like what you think would do well.
I always would put a little black around because I've got gorgeous blue eyes. I don't know if you guys
want to
notice.
make those puppies pop. Sure.
Some people say they're beady and unsettling, but they're actually gorgeous.
I've never heard people say beady and unsettling. I've never heard that.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, the women soldiers are also expected to overcome. Gas me up a bit.
See?
Must have been that Reddit thread in the beginning.
Yeah. You're not a piece of shit. You used to be. Like, you're not anymore.
Yeah, I'm heading down to Trefani's for a steak after this. That was a great move.
Up.
The women soldiers were also expected to overcome a fire assault zone. Ooh, in a mock war zone with radiation. Ooh, chemological and biological threats wearing gas masks and special protection suits.
This is some general's like kink.
I'm not horny at all anymore. I started off very
some Russian general is just like the horniest dude of all time.
Yeah. What if we get them all dolled up and then we put them in gas masks and some radiation protection suits?
It's like that skit from Adam Sandler where they're all gonna laugh at you. It's like, I would like to move the boys' gymnastic team into my inner office.
Yeah, this is very weird. They were ordered to assemble and disassemble assault rifles, fire from a Kalashnikov, and throw grenades. There was also a brain ring where they were tested on general knowledge and they faced creative and culinary tests. They had to cook and bake.
Olga, why did you put that weapon together so quickly? Because you told me to, drill sergeant.
Yeah. There's all different kinds of goulash. There's fried goulash.
They taught me how to pierogi.
There's sideways borscht and borscht coming up from below sometimes. A report said not all the participants are young women. One, Olga Kirilova, is already a granny. Her daughter is 23 and her grandson is 3. She serves in the Tikov division of the strategic missile forces. She's excellent at shooting. It comes as Moscow continues to lose key figures within its military. And it shows a photo of these women who are, I'll say it, I don't know, unpatriotic. They're hot platoons. They're smoke shows. Okay.
Are they?
The one on the left.
Yeah, the one on the middle looks like she's about to be in a live action version of Peppa Pig.
That's not nice.
I'm only allowing that because they're Russian.
Come on, she has a very Russian, Peppa type of face.
Russian Americans, much love.
Fair.
This not so much.
I feel like we can shame these people.
Yeah. Anyway, that's their PR putting in overtime to I don't know what. I imagine that happening here. I feel like in the 40s and 50s and shit, we did shit like that. Like, look at Betty Jo. She can put on lipstick while she's. But,
and that what the whole like pinup movement was about?
Yeah, I guess. True. But this. I'm not a fan. But what are you gonna do? Because I would lose. Probably because I'd be standing in formation and all the women in my unit would get picked out for it. And I'd be like, hey, where are they going? They didn't say my name.
I mean, that would be legitimately so insulting.
Yes, it would. It'd be so
if you don't even get
super-
picked to be one of the ones in the pageant, and like you're sitting there with the rest of the dudes while they're like hooting and hollering at these women, and you're like, okay, guys, she's a cutie.
That's when I'd be like, whatever, I'm gonna make these guys laugh. And then I talk about poopy and farts in the smoke pit
He
afterwards.
walks up, you're like,
it works on me right now. Yeah.
Just doing a little fart goofing. All right. So a couple weeks ago, we gave you, remember when we talked about Tabasco and how Tabasco was back after not being back? Tabasco gone again. It's out. So
not cool.
Coming soon to an MRE near you, they are going to change all of the hot sauce that used to be in 1/8 of an ounce bottle. They're changing it to a dried powder hot sauce.
Oh, you know why that's
nothing.
No.
I disagree. Yeah.
You know why that's bad news, Bears? Have you
Snorting
ever
it.
been stuck in
people are gonna start snorting it?
No, well, for sure.
For
They're gonna be sucking that up their dick holes. Pardon my French.
No, yeah,
they are.
It's
Absolutely.
crazy when you figure out how your dick is actually a straw and you can suck things up like a fucking HVAC machine.
Forget
it's
it.
Ridiculous. It's so much fun. You're like, oh, nerd candy, love that sugary stuff in my bladder. Suck that right up in there.
Right up.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, no. Have you ever been the victim of an MRE bomb in a tent?
Yes.
You use the heater, you put the Tabasco sauce in there, you throw it in, boom, it explodes, and everybody has the vapor. Imagine that with hot sauce powder, what they're going to be able to do with that. That's going to fuck things up. That's
excellent point, Kate. So that
I
just wanted to update on everybody on that because I think we have to tell them no. Like, we want this Tabasco. Stop it with the powdered stuff. We don't want that because it doesn't mix together well. Like, that's why you need to have, you don't want to mix up your fucking MRE. You don't want to.
First one to send us a video for social, though, you sucking the powder up your dick hole gets free ZBT gear.
Are we really soliciting for dick pics?
I'm not the one who opens those, so sure.
True. Yeah. Send them away. I'll take a look. All right, let's move on to safe rounds and alibis. Nick, what do you got?
Nothing much here. Just coming straight off of WrestleMania 2 nights. It was an absolute grind.
How was it down
there? Yeah, how was Texas?
That's not nice. That's not nice.
Interesting. So,
oh, Nick didn't get to go.
I didn't get to go. I took one for the team there because I had to man the fort, I had to man the social. So I did that, but a major FOMO. Probably
it was like your unit deploying without you, and you're still doing a lot of work back in the rear with the gear, but everybody shits on you for it.
Oh yeah, I'm writing blogs. I'm just getting trolled by chaps. I just could feel your happiness, like just the vintage just puts the tweet out.
You know what?
Just the likes and the retweets. He just had so much. I just know what his face looked like.
That's because Chaps is a Whopper Tino eating, bucket of crabs mentality having.
Yeah, I had a big time bucket of crabs mentality this weekend. It was
well, that's my save round. WrestleMania is over. It was a great show. I missed it. I missed it being in Texas. They were in the fifth row, which those seats go for probably $5,000 each. And but I was in my basement. It's all right. So that's my save round.
That sucks.
Cons, what about you, pal?
Just like to congratulate Coach K, my guy, fellow alum, Coach K, on a magnificent career. There's been a lot of slander going around about him around inside the four walls of our company recently, but I still think everything he's done it's been magnificent. He's been a staple of the game for 4 decades, and congratulate him on a fantastic and monumental career.
Did you want to address the rumors that he also has ladybugs like Lindsey Graham?
I hadn't heard that rumor.
Do you know what the ladybugs are for Lindsey Graham?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you that in my save round. Kate,
okay.
What you got?
I'm curious to know.
You guys haven't, neither one of you? Cons I can understand because he's not in really poop Twitter. Kate, you being not involved is just shocking. It's not really poop related.
Lindsey Graham have ladybugs in his poop?
It's butthole related.
I forgo my save round. I would just like to hear about yours.
Okay, so it's wild, and it's widely known, talked about that Lindsey Graham uses sex workers from time to time. He is known to use sex workers.
Yes, I've heard that.
And there is a rumor that is going around. Hold on, I want to get
this. Oh,
this.
is this going to be like Michael Keaton putting the gerbils up his butt?
No,
that's Richard Gere.
Oh.
All right, let me see if I can pull it. Oh, here we go. I think I found it right away. What an unbelievable Google search. Yeah, I got to go to the +18 community for sure for this one. All right, let's see. Click see. Okay. This is about Lindsey Graham. When I came out of the bathroom, he was on the bed, naked on all fours. I noticed there were dark marks around his anus. I asked if he had showered, and he said yes. I asked if it was okay if I wiped him down there, and he said sure. I wet a face towel and wiped between his buttocks, and nothing was coming off. Then I realized his taint wasn't dirty. It was just full of moles, dark moles, and a dense cluster up and down the length of his taint. Oh, he said, hope you don't mind those. They're just my little ladybugs.
Jesus. Could have done without that.